everyone. Welcome to Switchblade Sisters Social Club, the true crime podcast where two friends exploit their worst fears for your entertainment.
You're welcome.
I'm Dee, a writer and podcaster.
And I'm Isla from Criminally Good Books, a true crime and crime fiction bookshop in York.
Follow us on all the socials.
Except for X, obviously.
Or have a look at our website, switchbladesisterssocialclub.com.
Check them out for all our latest episodes, events, deals, and other weird stuff.
Listeners' discretion advised. How good was last week talking to Steve Hodel about the Black Dahlia? He's a legend, and I'm so excited because we basically bullied him into coming back. So he gave us some tips on different cases to cover that involve his dad and others that don't, others that he was involved in that sound amazing. So yeah, we're going to crack on and basically just make this the Steve show. So, and hope he doesn't do something like join Reform after we've spent years fangirling over him. Yeah.
I do not want that to happen for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I've been really happy because obviously, as those of you know, I've moved to Birmingham. I've been Bab of the Week commencing 13th of April, 2026.
You're not going to let anyone forget about that, are you?
Mm-hmm. That's Punks and Chancers on Instagram. She's amazing. She's got like a bunch of Birmingham Bab related merch and she nominates Bab of the Week. And, you know, unfortunately, it can't be me every week, but it has been me in the past.
Like different aliases.
Yeah, maybe. Or disguises. Yeah. And then the other day I got really annoyed about something to do with HS2. And that made me feel like I've properly assimilated into Birmingham because they always moan about HS2
do
stuff.
They? Okay. Yeah. And why is that? Because it's taken bloody so long.
Yeah. The first ride will be in 2039. We were like, we're going to be almost retired by then. Where are we getting the train?
Another 13 years.
Yeah.
How come? That's just weird.
I don't know. So, yeah. But it's been really nice also because I've had a lot of friends coming and visiting like you and other people who've had conferences or events or whatnot and have tagged a little visit to little old me in between. So that's been really nice. So I thought I'd do a Birmingham murder.
Oh, nice. I wondered when this was going to happen.
I've been listening to the British Scandal podcast, which is amazing. Their series on the Birmingham Six, which I really recommend. I'm not doing Birmingham Six today, but I recommend that because it's fascinating. Basically, 6 people of Irish descent living in Birmingham who got wrongfully convicted for a few bombs that went off in Birmingham. They were convicted of being IRA members and setting off these bombs. And then it came out that there was a lot of police corruption and it was not them. Anyways. That's not what I'm doing today. I am doing the case of Philip John Smith, which is so bland a name, it sounds made up, isn't it?
Sorry to all the Philip Smiths out there.
The Philip John Smith is just like if you made up a name, if you're like, I need a really English sort of average name. Okay. So I was trying to Google for resources and this, that, and the other. And I kept on having to make sure I was looking at the right Philip John Smith because there's another Philip John Smith who's convicted of murder in New Zealand.
Okay.
And it's not him I'm covering, but he appeared heavily in the media because he fought to be allowed to wear a toupee in court. Like he's being charged with murder and he was basically, his biggest concern was being able to wear his toupee in court. So I will actually show you a picture of this Philip John Smith.
Oh, wow.
The hairline is not the problem. Which one is the one with the toupee?
Sorry, hang on. Is that the same person?
This is the same person.
What? Oh my God. It does very much change the look, doesn't it, with a toupee?
It does. He does look totally different. But yeah, you're being done for murder, like priorities, huh?
He's going to look his best in court.
Well, maybe he's read some studies about how bald men are convicted more or something.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Something. If anyone knows about that, let us know.
Because obviously there is a lot of studies with regards to, you know, what you should wear in court and, you know, people charged with crimes requesting to wear like civilian clothes rather than prison garb because it can prejudice the jury. If you turn up looking like a prisoner, they're going to
subconsciously... Like an orange boiler suit.
Yes, they're subconsciously going to think you are a criminal, etc., etc.
Don't you have an orange boiler suit?
Yeah, I do. Because do you remember?
Yes, when we did that refugee.
Yeah, we were helping a bunch of people collect donations and so forth for Syrian refugees. And someone was clearly just having a clear out. I want to think it's unintentional because they donated what was clearly a Halloween costume or something, but a prisoner's boiler suit. And it's like, you can't give that to a refugee, can you? So I took it home.
Used it for Halloween purposes.
Yeah, because it wasn't going to be given to, and I want to say I felt justified because I donated a lot of hours to that charity. And again, it would have gone straight in the bin. But yeah, so I do have a boiler suit. All right. So as I said, I'm going to be covering the UK Philip John Smith.
Fantastic.
And I picked him because I was sort of Googling, I went down a little rabbit hole looking at bizarre Birmingham true crime cases, and it came up. So I'm going to start with when he was born, which was not in Birmingham. It was in Gloucester, which isn't too far. It's probably like an hour and a half of drive away in 1965 on the 10th of July. I wanted to do a more sort of contemporary case after doing Black Dahlia last week and the week before. So he had 4 younger siblings. So he's one of 5 and he's the eldest. His dad, Henry John Smith, was a sawmill laborer, and his mum was called Rose, and she was sort of a housewife, you know, which freaked me out because I was like, wait, so they're in Gloucester and her name is Rose, because we know another woman from Gloucester called Rose that comes up in true crime a lot, and that is Rose West, Fred and Rose West, which is a case that I'm not covering today and probably won't ever. I think that's in the category of cases I won't ever cover. I've listened to a lot of podcasts, watched a lot of documentaries, read a lot of books on it, including Love Mum by their daughter, which was literally one of the most traumatic books that I've ever read.
I've got a few in the shop. Like there's the girl that actually stayed in their house, and it's I think it's called like Living in the Attic or something, and like she lived there when one of the girls was like killed, and she was like her friend and stuff, and like she was a survivor. But yeah, anyway, absolutely horrific.
Lucky to have survived.
I know.
Unlucky to have been there in the first place. But yeah, so for that book to be the most traumatic thing I've ever read as a reader, I can't imagine what the people who had to have any kind of interaction, contact, live with them, be related to them. And that book was really hard because similar to what we were hearing from Steve Hodel last week, when you know that your parent is capable of such horrendous things, but they're still your parent and you've got all of those love feelings, you know, I can't even imagine having to process that. No. Anyways, I bring them up because the Smith family lived on Midland Road for a while, and their neighbors were none other than the Wests. So for a little while.
Okay, so she was called Rose, but actually not that Rose West, but they lived next to the West. Oh my God.
I know, bizarre, right? So I'm going to bring it up on Google Maps just because, you know, I love a bit of stalking.
And also, the other thing is like those names are like quite traditional names back then as well. So there's probably quite a few Roses around.
I'm not saying she's in any way Rose West. I'm just saying some bizarre coincidences. And also this guy, he lived next to them when he was like a child. So it's not like there was any kind of influence or
that we know about.
I don't think so. But this is the road.
Okay.
Midland Road. I don't know
just which one was normal British,
like suburban-y type house, you know, quite new building mixed with
there as well.
Older houses, some houses with garages at the front. Yeah, just looking nondescript.
So this is where Philip and Rose lived.
This is where Philip John Smith lived, who we're talking about today, with his mum and his dad and his 4 younger siblings for a little while. But not for long. And when he was about 5-ish, I think, 1971, they moved to Coney Hill Council Estate, Hales Road. So Mr. Smith got in a motor accident and got injured, which affected his ability to work and therefore their living situation. Yeah, so they're still in Gloucester, the situation. And Philip went to Coney Hill Infants and Junior School at first, and then was sent to a school for kids with learning difficulties. He left at 14, though, to to work with his dad because his dad was now employed by Billy Danter's Fun Fair. This was around 1975, but Billy Danter's Fun Fair is a company that is still operating today. And FYI, they haven't done anything wrong. I'm totally okay with promoting them. Yeah. So you can hire them for your events and so forth, or you can follow them around the country should you desire. Can you see?
Yes.
So yeah, Billy Danter. They used to travel around the UK, father and son. And when there weren't fair tours, Philip worked as a farmhand, a labourer, security guard. So very sort of transient work, let's say informal employment rather than permanent jobs. Philip Smith moved to Tewkesbury and then Ross-on-Wye, where he lived with a woman and had 3 kids with them between 1990 and 1992. So in quite quick succession there. That's a kid a year. But the relationship as a couple, him and this woman, it soon deteriorated. And so Smith left. He abandoned them and he moved to Cardiff in Wales. He then went to Ireland and basically hitched a ride with a traveling family for like a year.
Okay.
So he's just kind of hitchhiking and then ended up staying with this family that were traveling around for a year. They had a spare caravan, so they let him live in it rent-free if he paid for some of the food using his unemployment benefits. So it kind of was mutually beneficial, but bizarre arrangement, right? This isn't the usual lifestyle, let's say, and especially not for a father of 3.
But it doesn't sound like he wanted to be a father.
No, he's got no contact with these kids after this. They basically are fatherless, which is like a mixed blessing when your father is this guy, let's say.
Okay.
They asked him to leave, though, this family that he was sort of traveling around with. After a year, they asked him to leave because he was making sexual comments to the young women in the family. From what I could gather from some of the sources is that these young women were, in fact, what we would call children. Allegedly, like teens and so forth. I couldn't confirm that. Nothing was official. So allegedly, but basically they asked him to move on. They clearly were not okay with him anymore.
Yeah.
So in 1999, he did a D and moved to Birmingham. And he stayed at the Trinity Centre first, which is a hostel in Digbeth. So I've talked about Digbeth loads. I was there at the weekend again. Still love it. Accidentally took my friend to a sex market at the weekend. My friend Vicky came up and there was an alternative artisans fair, which was amazing. But I would say about 75% of the stalls were sex and kink related. No kink shaming here. It was fascinating to see all these products and services, let's say. I don't know if either of us were expecting it. So it was a fun surprise. So he lived there for a little while in a hostel, and then he moved to a housing association in Braithwaite Road in Sparkbrook. So I don't know much about Sparkbrook, the area, but these look like...
Oh, they're lovely.
Yeah, really cute houses, right? Like...
Lovely, like Victorian type tenement.
Terrace,
terrace,
semi-detached.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, they're semi-detached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like red brick houses. Some newer builds in between. Yeah, so if any of you know Sparkbrook, that's where he was living. Oh, there's some cute graffiti. There's a lion and an elephant and a gorilla and a jaguar. It's a barber's and pool. Yeah, so I don't know what the reputation of that area is, but that's where he lived. He would often go to the Shamrock Cafe on Stratford Road, which doesn't seem to exist anymore. And also, there's as we were talking about, there's quite a big Irish population here in Birmingham. And the Rainbow Pub in Digbeth, which does still exist. And I will show you what it looks like now. This is in sort of 2006, this picture. I'm getting the impression from the story and from this picture that it was a bit cheap and cheerful, let's call it. The Rainbow Pub in Digbeth, although it doesn't look that cheap or cheerful, but I'm going to show you now. I think they've done it up. Like Digbeth, it's really cute, but I think it's kind of gentrifying because this much nicer. Mm-hmm. This is their website and it's got fancy video and it looks real cool and they got music.
Live music and stuff.
Doesn't it look fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing they had to rebrand a bit because of this story. So
I can't wait to hear it. Like they've
I know.
rebranded the whole pub because of this story.
And while we're at it, I'm going to show you a picture of Philip John Smith as well.
Oh, yes.
It is not a photo that gives the best impression of him, not going to lie. He's got like shaved head, like not shaved, but like very
He's got
short.
quite a serious looking face, quite intense eyes, hasn't he?
Yeah, like blue eyes that are quite piercing because he's quite starey, and he's got like stubble and everything. But he does, like, I'll tell you a bit about him. He looks like someone you just see down a pub. Do you know what I mean? And think nothing of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, except he was extraordinarily tall, which I will go into. He was 6'4" and he weighed 22 stones. So he would have been quite physically noticeable. But he was known as a gentle giant. And at the time of the incidents, he was working in the pub, casually doing odd jobs around this Rainbow pub and working as an unofficial taxi driver for drinkers. So remember, this is pre-Uber days, or at least early Uber days. So he was basically would stay at the pub, not drinking, and give people lifts back and forth. I assume he wasn't drinking if he was driving, but made that up. He might have been wasted. Who knows? But, you know, unofficial taxi drivers, not the best look in a true crime scenario, is it? So in an interview with the Birmingham Evening Mail following Smith's trial in July 2001, so after he's been caught for the things I will tell you in a moment, Jim Smith, the proprietor of the Shamrock Cafe, remember where he used to like hang out a lot? Yeah, another Smith. He was a gentle giant who we named Bigfoot because his boots always used to leave black marks on the floor. 99% of the time, he had a dirty appearance and looked like he'd been working on a car. It's not a great endorsement, but it's not like, you know, he gave everyone
the willies and were scared of him.
So from 1994, he basically acquired over 30 criminal convictions, which is a lot. Yeah. But many of them were minor. So from about 19, he was getting in trouble.
His criminal record up there.
Yeah. And they were minor, most of them, or less violent than, but it's a pattern, isn't it? And people escalate. So 1984, he was done for theft. He was fined £100. In 1985, it was burglary. He 12 months probation. 1986, theft, and he had a probation order. 1987, theft, obtaining property by deception, motoring offenses, failing to surrender to bail. He spent 1 month in prison, suspended for 12 months. December 1987, stealing a car. He went on probation for 12 months. April 1989, theft from a car. He was fined £30. So it's just like, at this point, do you not want to do something more serious? I feel like there should be a bigger interception to sort of either rehabilitate him or punish him more, but something like whatever is happening.
His dad wasn't around, and where was his mum?
His dad was around. He worked with his dad.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah.
So continue 1990, driving while disqualified, no insurance. So like I said, these are not starting off as violent crimes, right? 1992, criminal damage, driving offenses, handling stolen goods, failing to surrender bail. He got 120 hours community service. 1993, burglary, handling stolen goods, obtaining property by deception, failing to surrender to bail, probation for 2 years. So it's a pattern, isn't it? 1993, motoring offenses, burglary, failing to surrender to bail, community service and probation got given. 1994, criminal damage, £120 fine, more handling stolen crimes, et cetera, et cetera. So no violent crimes, but I would argue that a lot of these crimes have the potential to turn violent very easily. Like if you're burglaring someone's house.
Yeah, and they're there and something.
And they start fight back. Exactly. Then it could potentially become violent, right?
And then also if he's driving, he could hit someone, he could cause serious accidents, you know, like.
Exactly. So, but then we come to 8th of November, 2000, and he'd been in Birmingham for a year or so. And Smith meets 21-year-old Jodi Hyde. She was a recovering butane gas addict, which I was like,
even a thing?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know what that was. But basically, it's another way of saying solvent or inhalant abuse, which we do No, was a
Oh,
thing,
okay.
definitely. So breathing in lighter fuel or aerosol sprays to get high. The butane basically acts as a central nervous system depressant. So sniffing or huffing it gives you euphoria and disinhibitions, but also dizziness. And if you don't do it right, death. Also, the effects only last for a couple of minutes, except for the death. Obviously, that lasts longer. And when that happens, it's called sudden sniffing death syndrome and can happen even on the first time.
Oh,
So
God.
then I went into a rabbit hole because
Oh, I'd want to know all about it.
it's not something I've ever partaken in.
Is that what those, like, this is going to sound silly, but those little silver canisters are that you see lying
Well,
around
no,
the
because
street?
that's
What
like
are they?
helium, isn't it? But it has a
Okay.
similar effect. And
Okay.
but what happens is it can stop your heart, so you can asphyxiate, and you can also get brain damage from repeated use, which is
God.
almost a guaranteed. So this way of getting high, unfortunately, was really prevalent amongst young people because it's super easy to
Cheap.
access
Yeah.
deodorant. Do you know what I mean? Lighter fuel, and it was low cost. So I Googled the prevalence of this in the year 2000. Apparently, it was a much bigger problem in the 80s and the 90s in the UK, when apparently 5 to 10% of UK school children had tried it at least once. So that was just quite a high, shocking amount for me. And UK school children who use it regularly, 1 to 2%. And they were a leading cause of drug-related deaths amongst young people at the time, sniffing. In the 80s, sniffing caused around 150 to 200 deaths per year. And by the year 2000, it was less. It was 50 to 80, down from 150 to 200 that were
Yeah.
linked to this substance abuse. So this is what Jodi Hyde had been doing and had managed to stop. So well done her. She was even on a documentary for the BBC when she was 17 about kicking the habit. Bless her. She was from the Alum Rock area of Birmingham, and she had met Smith at the Rainbow. They were seen leaving together. It wasn't clear whether this was like romantically or in his capacity as an unlicensed taxi driver. He was giving her a lift home. He took her to a hospital appointment she had, which is really bizarre considering he killed her after. He took her back to his flat, he strangled her, and then he dumped her near a recreation ground in Sparkbrook.
Okay. How long had you known her? Sorry.
Met her on the day, met her in the pub, left with her, bizarrely took her to an appointment, then killed her, dumped her, and set her body alight, which was presumably to destroy any potential evidence. 6:15 the next day, so the 9th of November 2000, her body was found. It was still smoldering. It was found by 2 police officers that were on patrol. She had to be identified using fingerprints because she was totally unrecognizable. And the post-mortem showed that she'd been strangled and then rolled up in carpet and set alight.
So he's 35 at this point. He's just gone from minor crimes, like lots of minor crimes, to suddenly.
But you could tell this is a massive escalation from handling stolen goods, burglary
like,
even. It's
what
a
made him
massive.
just go from, and it's not even just like, I mean, any killing someone is awful, but he's gone from strangling to then the way that he's got rid of her as well.
Is really shocking, isn't it? Well, we're not done. I'm sorry. 3 days later, Smith meets Rosemary Corcoran at the Rainbow as well. So he's back hanging out at the Rainbow. She was 25-year-old mum of 3 from Castle Vale area of Birmingham. And again, they were seen leaving together. And I couldn't understand whether they'd already understood whether Jodi was missing at this point, or whether they'd identified her. He obviously felt fairly comfortable to return back to the Rainbow and to leave with another woman.
Yeah.
They went to a club together where they were also seen together. And later they looked at CCTV and they could see that Rosemary was very drunk and that Smith had dragged her into his car. He drove her to nearby Droitwich Spa, Worcestershire. This is like an hour south of Birmingham, where he bludgeoned her to death and ran over her body. This was the side of the road. As with Jodi Hyde, her face was unrecognizable, and she was found the next morning at 8:30 a.m. by a man walking his dog near Junction 5 of the M5 motorway, which is near Droitwich Spa. So he's not taken this woman back to his this time. He's taken her for some reason an hour drive south of Birmingham-ish and killed her out in the open. On his drive back from here, so before this body is found, because Rosemary is only found the next morning, he hit Carol Jordan with his car on the way back to Birmingham. She was a 39-year-old care home worker and mother of 6 from Balsall Heath, which is in Birmingham. She was walking to work. He fractured her hip when he hit her with his car, and he was worried that she was still alive and might be able to identify him or give him away. So he took her elsewhere and beat her so badly she had to be identified using her dental records.
Oh my God. So he got her in. So can you imagine the fear? She gets hit by a car and then she must be thinking, oh my God, I'm really injured. Hopefully they're going to get me an ambulance. Gets her in his car, but then takes her somewhere else to beat her up.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't even leave her. It's not even a hit and run. It's a hit and then murder to make sure that he can't be done for anything.
Love a good murder? Come visit me, Isla, at Crimley Good Books in York, your one-stop shop for crime fiction and true crime reads, as well as gifts and author events. Or browse online at crimleygoodbooks.co.uk.
My God.
She was also found the next day. So Rosemary and Carol were both killed on the same day and found the next day within 20 minutes of each other. So she was found on the 12th of November as well, next to Bell Barn Road in the Lee Bank area of Birmingham. I'm going to show you a picture now of the 3 victims, okay? Now, they have different age ranges, from 21 to
Yeah.
20s, 30s, and so forth. And they don't look particularly similar. We know the last victim wasn't chosen. She was accidentally hit by his car and he finished her off. Between his 2 definitely chosen victims, not too much similarity, apart from the fact that they look awesome.
Jodi just looks like a sweet, innocent baby.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it might be a school photo, actually, in that she's got like a little quite prim and proper collared shirt on and her hair is done up, got nice makeup on, like she's got obviously quite a lot of eye makeup and lipstick on. So, and then Rosemary, a little bit older lady, has got like quite big, I want to say 80s rock ballad hair. Do you know what I mean?
She looks cool.
Yeah. And she's got like quite a striking face about her. And then Carol Jordan just looks so sweet, like
she looks so happy.
Long brown hair tied up in a ponytail and cute smile. So yeah, those are the 3 victims, bless them. You'll be pleased to know that at the very least, that's the end of his killing spree.
Okay, good.
And you can see why it is a spree killing rather than a serial killer murder. We talked about this before in that there's no cooling down period and returning to normal life as such. It's just almost one incident, even if it is over several days. The difference is that with the serial killer, you have, like I said, the cooling off periods where they stop, they live normally, and their tension escalates enough that they want to kill again. And the spree killer keeps going without stopping. So he was caught, as you know, because we're talking about him. But how did the police find out it was him? Well, his own stupidity, of course.
Okay, I was going to say, please let it be that he's a stupid motherfucker.
Yeah. Or maybe it's his own arrogance or combination of the 2.
He told everyone in the pub.
Well, news got back to the pub, the Rainbow Pub, that Rosemary Corcoran, victim number 2, had disappeared. So that tells me that they found out about her going missing before Jodi, or at least that the pub hadn't clocked that Jodi had been missing. Staff told Smith about this disappearance because, of course, you would discuss it if you're like, oh my God, that lady that was in here the other night, she's disappeared. You would talk like that, right? This was on the 13th of November, so the day after she was actually found, but they might not have identified her yet. When they told him about this, he called the police station in Castle Vale, where she was from, and according to the detective constable there, Ruth Wilkins, he said on the phone that Rosemary had left the pub with an unknown man and that he wanted to come in to help with their inquiries.
Oh, God. So gracious of him, isn't it? He's such a lovely guy.
sorry, this was before they'd found the body at this point, but they had not yet identified her. So Smith goes into the station within the hour and he admits that he was at the Rainbow with Rosemary and a male friend. So he's making up this other male person. He said they were later separated when they went to the Kerryman, which was another pub, and the male friend was kicked out. So he said that he and Rosemary went to the Monte Carlo nightclub in the Handworth area of Birmingham, which was often referred to as a den of iniquity.
He's claiming that he went there with Rosemary, but we know that they didn't. But he's claiming that she went off with someone else.
He's saying that he was hanging out the three of them. They were hanging out the three of them. The guy got separated and him and Rosemary go to the Monte Carlo. I feel like this is an older picture than the time period we're talking about.
That looks like 50s.
Yeah, I know, but it looks fabulous, doesn't it? Yeah. So it was a long-standing club. It had a bad reputation, but I still would have wanted to go to there. So when they were leaving the Monte Carlo, apparently Rosemary was confronted by a guy she had argued with at the Kerryman. He said it was a teddy boy. So I had to Google the definition of the teddy boy, or the TED, 1950s and 1960s, and revived in the 70s. And they were wearing clothes that were inspired by dandies at Edwardian period, Savile Row, like fancy pants clothes.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason why Smith said, oh, she was approached by this teddy boy, is to distance himself from it. Like he could never be described as a teddy boy. Apparently this guy was aggressive. And so Smith asked Rosemary if she would like to go home. And she said no, she was fine. Okay. And so Smith left her there with apparently this argumentative.
The blatant lies.
Yeah. And I don't know whether they would have found him eventually, if he would have come on their radar eventually. I feel like because of this link to the Rainbow Pub, and it would have eventually come around to him, but they definitely found him quicker because of this weird, we hear about it, don't we, that they inject themselves into the investigation. So a murder investigation was set up, Operation Green. It was led by Sir Edward Krug, Chief Constable of West Midland Police. There were 100 police officers and 50 support staff on board. And they watched loads of CCTV cameras footage, Smith was quickly linked to Rosemary Corcoran, who was already linked to the other two deaths. So they were like, right, we've got him. We're looking at him for the 3 murders. Witnesses stated that they saw him leaving the Rainbow with both Jodi Hyde and Rosemary Corcoran. And he is fairly distinctive. He's fairly distinctive because he's 6'4" and big build, but also very well known amongst the regulars, because he too is a regular and he works there. So, people knew him and they were saying, yeah, it was him. It's not like, oh yeah, someone tall was leaving. It was like, no, Smith was leaving with her. He also had a very distinctive car. And so I was trying to find out what was distinctive about it. And it seems to be that it was just an extremely battered Volvo. Yeah. And this car had been seen at various key locations. So Jodi Hyde was even seen getting out of his car at one point to go to the chemist, which I assume was after her hospital appointment. So he's like literally taking her on errands. He was seen where Hyde's body was later found. They then saw Rosemary Corcoran struggling with him outside the Monte Carlo. He was seen driving near Droitwich Spa after killing Rosemary.
Oh, so they actually went to the Monte Carlo. So he did go with her, right?
Apparently they did actually go, but obviously this other guy, etc., was BS. Yeah. 2 witnesses saw him with blood on himself. He said he'd had a fight, so there was even conversations about it. And there was also loads of forensic evidence, which we love. Yeah. Over a dozen bloodstains on his car, clothing and so forth, and all over his flat. And they matched all 3 of the victims. So bloodstains on his boots where he had kicked Rosemary and Carol Jordan. He was even wearing the same boots at the time of his arrest. So he literally walked in with like DNA evidence.
So he didn't even try and hide it?
No, he had, because he had tried to clean his clothes in the bath, apparently.
But he didn't really know about the fact that what DNA evidence or what forensic evidence was.
Yeah, and what I understand from that as well, him trying to wash clothes in the bath, I take that to mean he didn't have a washing machine and he would have to use laundrettes. He also tried washing a pair of Rosemary Corcoran's trousers because he had a lot of her
Just
stuff, but
burn
also a
them.
lot of
Burn
stuff
them.
of dump
Bloody
them. I
hell.
don't know.
Yeah.
But he also had stuff belonging to Jodi Hyde as well.
Oh.
Ugh. And remember Rosemary's body, how he'd left her on the motorway, on the side of the
Yeah.
motorway, and she'd been driven over. Well, they matched the tire marks to his car.
Mm.
And before you start thinking maybe this is a coincidence or maybe he had common tires, he actually had 4 different tires on each of the wheels. You know, they weren't matching or anything.
unique.
And yeah, and they matched all 4 tire brands and styles and whatever. So I can't even begin to work out the probability of someone else having the exact same 4 combination of tires, you know? Paint and glass were found on Carol Jordan's body which matched to bits of his own car. So on the 17th of November of the year 2000, Smith was charged with Rosemary Corcoran's murder. By this time, they had formally linked her death to that of Jodi Hyde. So on the 28th of November, they charged him with Jodi Hyde and Carol Jordan's murders too. He was held in a high security prison, Wood Hill Prison in Buckinghamshire, until his trial. And his trial was in Leicester Crown Court, which started on the 3rd of July, 2001. He pleaded, what do you think?
Guilty.
He pleaded not guilty.
I thought you were going to say he admitted it all. Okay.
Yeah, no,
guilty.
it's not one of those. And what do you think his defense is going to be? Like, how do you think you argue yourself out of this one?
It wasn't him.
So he didn't go down the more obvious insanity route. He said this time it was police tampering with evidence, putting blood on his clothes, and that Smith had stolen a bag of clothes from outside Oxfam. And that's where Rosemary Corcoran's jeans must have come from that they found in his possession.
What about all the other evidence in his flat and the fact that
police tampering.
Okay. I mean, it does happen, I'm sure, but
it does happen.
In 3 cases, and he's seen with the victims.
And it's like a lot of different evidence that they supposedly would have had to tamper and plant on him and so forth, and in different places.
The police would have to speak to multiple people that saw him with these women as well, because he was seen with the first 2.
Yeah, his car was seen all over the shop. I mean, you could argue that maybe those witnesses have been paid off by the police if you really want to go down this road, but I don't know. So the 17th of July, during his trial, Smith said that he wasn't feeling well, that he had chest pain and eye pain while being cross-examined at the time. So I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but they had to pause the proceedings. And then he was treated for a panic attack, which I've had 3 in my life, a genuine actual panic attacks. And I remember each one because they're different to the other anxiety attacks I'm blessed with, which are horrible. But a panic attack is like literally, it's like the difference between a headache and a migraine. Do you know what I mean? Like when you have an actual migraine, you're like, oh yeah, everything else was just a headache because this
is a big fucker.
So I can totally imagine a world where you're being cross-examined for 3 murders and you've done it and you know you're fucked.
And you have a panic attack.
Yeah, that might give you a panic attack. But when he came back from treatment, he asked to speak to his barrister, and the judge said no because he had to continue answering questions, to which Smith said, I want to change my plea. I'm fed up with this. I want to change my plea.
Okay.
So the next day, he pleaded guilty. And on the 18th of July, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, 18th of July, 2001. It was reported he changed his plea in exchange for the £400 the police confiscated from him during his arrest because he wanted money to buy a Mars bar in prison. That came up in some sources. I was like, the charges were read to him again the following day. He pleaded guilty and, like I said, sentenced to life imprisonment. Mrs. Justice Rafferty said, you robbed 3 innocent ladies of their lives. I suspect that their families will suffer the more as they simply don't understand why you did. The brutality of these ladies' deaths designed by you to evade discovery, showing the coldness with which you dispatched them, is appalling. You should clearly have faced up like a man at the overwhelming nature of the Crown's case against you, but you chose to put the victim's family through misery, which you compounded by this trial. So that's not the end, though, because during this investigation, police discovered the death of a 4th woman. Patricia Linnott was 47. She was a mother of 2, and she'd moved to Birmingham in 1990s from Athlone, which I had to Google Maps, and it's in Ireland. It's like almost in the center of the Republic of Ireland. Patricia was a cleaner at the Rainbow Pub.
The Rainbow.
She would also babysit the owners, the licensees' kids on occasion. And on the 23rd of October, 2000, so this is 2 weeks before his official murder of Jodi Hyde, she was found dead in her flat in Bordsley Green. Initially, police thought it was of natural causes, but a postmortem failed to state a cause of death, and then the body was sent back to Ireland for burial. Obviously, there was a link with Smith that was noted because he was linked to the Rainbow Pub as well. And in 2001, investigators asked Irish authorities to exhume the body and perform another postmortem.
Oh, God.
Which is, even if we've talked about this before, even as a family member, if you're totally on board with it, because you know, if there's a chance your loved one has been murdered and that they might catch the murderer, you know, and you're like, yes, please do exhume the body. It's still going to be traumatic that your loved one can't just rest, you know.
Exactly.
That they have to go through this, even in death, is just awful. The postmortem proved inconclusive, though. So there's still an inquest into Patricia Lynotte's death held at Birmingham. So there was an inquest into Patricia Lynotte's death held at Birmingham Coroner's Court in January 2003. So 3 years after she died and 2 years after Smith was given life sentences for the other 3 murders. And there we hear that there were marks on her back and her arm, and they may have been bruising. They were working off of photos mainly. The pathologist couldn't determine cause of death because she'd only been found 7 days after her death. So I'm assuming decomposition affected the state of her body. In the end, all the police and 4 different pathologists couldn't conclusively say she'd been murdered, let alone that Smith killed her. So there's an open verdict, which basically means the death is suspicious, but there's no evidence to conclusively say murder.
Do you know what, though? I was going to say that he left behind so much evidence, forensic evidence, in the other 3. I'm sure at the time, if he was guilty, I'm sure at the time, if they had gone through the flat and linked him and everything, there'd have probably been evidence. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but by this time, by the time they started looking at it, was at least a year later, that flat would have possibly been lived in, cleaned. It wasn't even there still. You know what I mean? So all of that is long gone. Police also look back over other unsolved cases from the last 20 years and all the different areas that Smith lived. And there was a lot, because remember, he traveled around. There's a lot of different areas that he lived in because he was traveling with the fair. Police from the different forces in the different areas even had a conference to share information about their unsolved murders to try to determine whether Smith was responsible for any. Because, like we said, he had a long list of crimes, but none of them violent. And to go from 0 to 100, like we were talking with the Black Dahlia case, it seems so unlikely that someone would go so hard so quickly.
Feels like there should be some stepping stone or something in the middle between petty thefts and stuff to like the 3 killings.
But Smith is continually being interviewed to determine if there were further victims. And in the end, there was no further charges brought against him because of time, et cetera, et cetera. Julian Rising, Jodi Hyde's uncle, said he's a callous person who showed no remorse. And James Taylor, Carol Jordan's brother, said the last 8 months have been a nightmare for all of us, especially Carol's husband and children.
Oh, God. So the second woman had 6 children. The last one had 2. The first woman, I don't know if she had any. Not that it doesn't matter whether you have children or not. It's awful, but
it's just that the number of victims is exponential, isn't it? Because you obviously have the ones that lose their life and then all their loved ones left behind. So there you go. That's the Birmingham spree killing. I used articles, it's mainly articles for this one, in the Birmingham Post, BBC News, Birmingham Evening Mail, Sunday Mercury, Irish Independent, because of the links with Patricia Lynott in Ireland, The Guardian. I will put links and everything in the show notes.
Is he still in prison? I know he got life. He's been there for 25 years.
Don't you worry, he is. Do you want to have a palate cleanser? Because I got a good one for you.
I really want one. Yes, please.
My quiz today is called the Birmingham Quiz.
Yay! Okay.
AKA more than just the spaghetti junction.
I love it.
Yeah. And I've actually got 10 questions. This is why
You're
speeding
really
through.
enjoying
Because
your new home
I
city.
know, it's fun. It was fun. Okay, should we get in?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep score for you, okay? Because
Yep.
there's 10. There's more numbers for us to keep track of.
And I've got my fingers, so.
Okay,
go.
I was literally like gonna. Which chocolate company was founded in Birmingham? A. Nestle, B. Cadbury, C. Lindt, D. Galaxy.
B. Cadbury.
Yeah, because we've got Cadbury World, Bourneville, all of that here. Really interesting going to Cadbury World, FYI, because it was literally a whole town built around this factory and with very specific morals and ideology in mind. So it's like
just like the Roundtree family in York. Just
yeah. So they wanted to have, I think they were Quakers because there's a large Quaker.
Yep.
So yes. Yeah. So they wanted to have like very green areas for their workers and super interesting. And also you get chocolate at every turn. So win-win.
Amazing.
So one for you. Yay. Which heavy metal band originated in Birmingham? A. Metallica. B. Black Sabbath. C. Iron Maiden. D. Slipknot.
B. Black Sabbath.
Correct. Yes. So you know this because we've got photos of you. I will put them in the show notes of you outside one of their pubs that they first played in. Ozzy the Bull in the station as well. Yeah. And there's a bench honoring him because obviously since he died recently, people are upset and showing their appreciation. All right. 3. Which TV show is set in Birmingham? A. Crossroads. B. Peaky Blinders. C. Coronation Street. Or D. Skins.
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 1 point because that's correct. But also I chucked in an extra fun fact. Crossroads also.
Oh, okay.
Set in Birmingham. Question 4. What did they call a forward roll in Birmingham? Is it A, a roly-poly, B, a gamble, C, a spinner, or D, a forward roll?
A roly-poly.
B, a gamble.
Oh, I don't remember that. A gamble.
It's spelled Gambol. And apparently gamble means like spinning and twisting and twirling and whatever.
Oh, okay.
But that's what they call a forward roll here. Isn't that hilarious?
A gamble. Okay.
What is Edgbaston famous for? Question 5. Is it A, football, B, cricket, C, cheese, or D, ghost sightings?
Ghost sightings, D.
It's B, cricket.
Damn it!
I don't know. Maybe there were ghosts there, but it's more known for its
I wouldn't have a clue. Okay, sorry.
Also went to Edgbaston Botanical Gardens the other day. Lovely.
Nice. Lovely.
Yeah. Which famous author was born near Birmingham? Is it A, J.R.R. Tolkien? Is it B, J.K. Rowling? Is it C, Charles Dickens? Or is it D, Roald Dahl?
Roald Dahl, D.
It's A, J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh no, I'm losing.
Don't worry, I'm still going to let you come and visit me in Birmingham, even if you don't get any of these right. 7. What is Birmingham's population roughly? A, 300,000. B, 600,000. C, 1 million-ish. Or D, 5 million.
1 million-ish.
Yeah, correct.
Yay!
Question 8. What major event did Birmingham host in 2022? Is it A, the Olympics, B, Commonwealth Games, C, World Cup, or D, Eurovision?
Commonwealth Games.
Correct! 5.
Yes.
Which famous department store originated in Birmingham? A, Harrods, B, Selfridges, C, John Lewis, or D, Debenhams?
D, Debenhams.
B, Selfridges.
No, really? The Weston family? Or maybe they just bought it.
Maybe, I don't know. All right, question 10. I'll give you a clue.
I'll give you the answer.
I'll give you the answer. You need it at this point. There's 2 of these are correct. So if you guess the 2, you get 2 points. Which famous comedian is from Birmingham? A, Joe Lycett, B, Ricky Gervais, C, Frank Skinner, D, Michael McIntyre.
I'm going to go for B and C.
Okay, you got 1 point. It's Frank Skinner is from Birmingham, but so is
Okay.
Joe Lycett. And he's got a TV show where he goes and visits all the other Birminghams around the world, like Birmingham,
Aw.
Alabama, and so forth. So you got 6 points. Congratulations.
Yay! I'm over like halfway, over 50%. That was cool. I really liked the Birmingham one.
Guys, get in touch and tell us how you do on the quizzes, or do you just fast forward them? Who knows?
Ew.
All right, well, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye
love
to
you.
you. I'm going to say I love
That
you.
was really interesting. Sad, interesting. Really liked
Yeah.
it and loved the quiz. Thank you.
Give us feedback if you know any of those places in Birmingham. And love
Or
our
stuff
sexy
Or
listeners.
stuff that Dee should do in Birmingham.
Yeah. Tell me from Birmingham gossip. I love our sexy listeners so much.
Do you know what? There's more and more listeners coming into the shop. And I can't say that I love anyone because I only love you and I love my family. But I'm starting to really, really, really like our listeners because they come
That
in.
is a lot.
You know, I can't give my love just so freely.
Oh, yeah.
Like you.
Whereas I'm more of a hoe.
You're just like, I love you, I love you, I love you. You love
yeah,
everyone.
but I have just so much of the love to give. So much.
You're so loving.
I hope everyone has a lovely week.
And I hope you have a lovely week too.
Yeah. See you next week.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Like this episode? Want more? Come visit me, Isla, at Crimley Good Books in the heart of York. We're an independent bookshop dedicated entirely to crime. From cosy mysteries to gritty thrillers, historical whodunits to juicy true crime. We've got signed editions, special gifts and plenty of recommendations for your next obsession. We also host a bunch of awesome author events. Can't make it in person? Visit us online at crimleygoodbooks.co.uk.